Welcome back, everybody, to Late to the Party. Today, we are reviewing the cult classic,
Army of Darkness.
Came out in 1992, directed by Sam Raimi, starring the awesome Bruce Campbell. This movie has surprisingly low scores on the whole internet, Metacritic, all those. But you don't care about those. Those are bad. They don't know what they're talking about. You're here. You're with Late to the Party. We're going to tell you why this movie may be the best comedic look at medieval times since Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You heard it here. Nate, why is this movie better than Monty Python?
I think this movie's better than Monty Python because I was there and I saw this when I was younger. And if I was just watching this for the first time, I would have no sense of nostalgia or endearment towards it, because I was like, when we spun this movie and we got Army of Darkness, which I could tell that the wheel was malfunctioning, and I had all the control in the world to be able to decide to change to that spot and put it into some other movie that I wanted when I realized it was malfunctioning, but I still let it be Army of Darkness. So I'm like, I was stoked for it to be Army of Darkness. And when I watched it, I'm thinking to myself, like, why do I like this? Is it because I like what I'm seeing, or is it because I'm reminiscing in past things and, like all the Sam Raimi stuff? And I'm thinking about the recycling of the characters or the actors that he used in this, as in Hercules and Xena, and this. I just have so much fond memories of these Sam Raimi properties that it was endearing to me because of personal nostalgic attachment, and I didn't have that with the Holy Grail. And maybe if I had just seen this, raw for the first time right now, I probably, I don't know. I don't know that I would like it as much, because I'm not really
guys, we gotta have a
slapstick fan. I don't like slapstick stuff, unless it happened during a time, like if I watch like a Three Stooges show now, I'll be okay with it because I like the Three Stooges. But if you show me some things that now, you can't help how you feel. You can only help how you think. And this one still got into me while I was still young enough to be able to feel it.
Right on. All right. Well, Isaac, tell me why this slapstick horror just works on every level. Disregard everything we just heard. Why is this hilarious?
Well, let's start off by one of the best actors out there, and that's Bruce Campbell. Dude, that guy is a genius. He's the Gary Oldman of this film, dude. He is so good, and all his slapstick comedy was gold. And this is what we expected for the Army of Darkness Evil Dead trilogy. It was fantastic. What's going on this side from this guy?
He's had a rough week.
I'm sorry, Nate. It's just it was a fun movie. It starts you off in medieval times. It throws in some horror. It's not really horror, but it's got that element, and then it's got the comedy. It's got his genius one-liners.
You found me beautiful once.
Honey, you got real ugly.
The dude has so many good one-liners in this movie. It's fantastic. I don't know why Nate didn't like it.
Who said I didn't like it?
He liked it.
He liked
just
it.
Doesn't know if he saw it raw today if he'd like it.
That's what I mean.
Because of nostalgia.
We're just teasing. We're teasing.
Oh, go for it. It's good content when you guys fuck with me.
We've proven that.
Definitely. Why?
The only thing more fun is when we fuck with Josh.
Ooh.
Content's content, right? There's no feelings.
That's right. Damn. Maybe we should have all said we hate this movie. Josh.
No, guys. I gotta live with this. I gotta live with it. You're not allowed to do that.
It's too late. Isaac already confessed his love.
All right, Josh, since you probably, I think you're probably going to get on the Lego train here with a 10 out of 10, but if you had to pick out one thing in this film that didn't quite land for you, what would it be?
That's hard. I think that there's probably some sequences with the Deadite army that probably, if you're paying attention to the details, you can tell that you're not dealing with full body, skeletons. It's dudes just under the range of the camera with a stick and, moving the skeletons around.
The words, the army of the dead awoke.
Some of that stuff is a little goofy, but it is Sam Raimi, and so you kind of expect that. That's kind of his style. Like Nate said, if you watch Hercules and Xena, there's a lot of camp going on in that stuff. So that would be the part that I think would be, if you had to pick a part that was kind of rough, or you're like, they could do that better. That's probably it.
Right on. Nice. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of with you there, but it's hard because I mean, like the moving camera and like all of that, it just kind of plays into the whole like feel of the movie. It's really hard to distinguish one thing as being like bad for a choice or bad for like lack of, I don't know, skill. So
right,
definitely. Jose, did you get any did you catch a mood off any of these tunes? I know there's a Danny Elfman song in there.
Dude, it wasn't just the music that I really liked. I can definitely see how this influenced so many more directors for years to come. Like, I always enjoyed Shaun of the Dead and some of those other, what's his name, Edgar Wright movies. And my favorite part was always those like really quick cuts put together. Like, remember in Shaun of the Dead, they're grabbing the shotgun, they're loading up, they're getting ready. And that was the groovy scene.
Was him groovy?
I was like, oh my God, that's where they got that from. Music, the whole camera chase, like you guys said, the whole camera running scene, all the little things that they did like that, just like that. Like this video was influenced by him. So I had no idea that it was Sam Raimi. To be honest with you guys, this was the first time watching it. And even as tired as I was, there were moments where it just woke me up. And it wasn't just the music, it was just like Nate was saying, I don't know if I liked it because of nostalgia. Like, I mean, what Nate was saying, he wasn't sure whether he liked it from nostalgia's sake, or I liked it because retrospectively, I can see its influences on today's movie making. So I'm like, and we've always talked about what is it that a movie does to make itself timeless. And I think there was so many moments from soundtrack to cinematography to just like those edits that make this movie timeless. It's weird. I was like, wow, like what year was the movie made? I didn't even look that up.
92.
It has a feel that it's older for some reason. I don't know if that was like maybe because the film, the film quality or the film edit, but yeah, man, I don't know what it was about it, man. I just caught myself really liking this movie. I did tell somebody that I had watched it, and they said that a lot. I guess this was part of a sequel, right? Or this was this the?
Yeah, this follows Evil Dead 2.
Okay, so they were saying that I guess the other ones had more of a horror element, and that people were really PO'd because this one added more comedic in it. But as somebody who hadn't watched any of them, just the way it stands alone, I was like, I liked it though. I thought that this worked, and now I want to go back and see the other ones and just see how it all led up to it. But I liked it, man. You know, if I had to say what was it that I liked about it, I liked how it influenced, and it was funny. I really regret not meeting Bruce Campbell all those times that we've had a chance to meet him. I'm really kicking myself for that. And hopefully we get a chance to he's still alive.
Next time we're at S-Mart, we'll swing on by. I wanted to ask you guys, so this film had 2 endings filmed for it. So there's one ending, which was the original ending. He sleeps too long, he takes the potion to wake up, back in his time. he takes too much potion, wakes up in this apocalyptic scenario, whatever, I don't know. And the other one is where he wakes up, he's in his time, he keeps kicking ass, he keeps his job, and he gets a fine babe. I'm curious which ending everybody kind of thinks works better. Or I personally think they both work really well. I think they're both great endings. I saw the S-Mart one first, so that one kind of like has a little bit more like, I don't know, nostalgia going for it. But yeah, I'm just curious. What do you guys think of the two ending thing?
It depends on if you want to see it end or you want to see it keep going. You know, and if you go on to is it Netflix, where they have the continuing adventures of Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a very similar thing. The only thing is that Bruce Campbell's like 20, 30 years older and he's got 20 or 30 more pounds on him, so
Double that.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, but the old man ending, like the alternate ending, spoiler alert for the TV show, that looks like where it's gonna be anyway. If you think about it, where he wakes up and it's the apocalyptic like universe. When you watch Ash versus the Army of Darkness in the last episode that they showed of the last season, he wakes up like that. It's the same thing happens as he falls asleep and he wakes up and it's an apocalyptic universe, like it was originally supposed to be an Army of Darkness. So it's kind of weird how they kind of tie that back around again.
I agree with Lego. I think both endings work because both endings play off of important aspects of Ash's character. So the apocalyptic ending one where he oversleeps, that plays off of Ash being
Dumbass.
yeah, basically being incompetent, which is like 90% of his problems is because he's kind of a buffoon. But the S-Mart ending also plays off his like over the top machismo, right? He's got this uncontrolled like macho libido that's just on display at all times, and so that kind of rewards that aspect of it. And naturally, since the S-Mart one is the first version I saw, because that was the theatrical version, that's the one that I tend to appreciate more than the other. I like them both, but I like the theatrical one better.
Nice. Let's get into the buckets, because I feel like we may have a little bit of divide here, but I'll start us off. 10 buckets, easy peasy. This movie's awesome. Influence is huge, and I loved it. Let's kick it off to the caveman Isaac, and then just chime in whenever you guys are ready.
Oh, dude, it's right there with you, bud.
Yeah.
10 buckets. Great movie. It like Jose was saying, the first two were like horror, and then the third one is where we're at, and it was fun. And it reminds me of how Spider-Man played out. Spider-Man 1 and 2 were super serious and like hardcore, and then 3 was just goofiness, and everybody hated it, just like a bunch of people hated this movie. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, man. When you make me want to go out and buy merchandise and meet an actor from the film and really and understand and realize, oh, this is who did it first. This is who we got it from.
Yeah.
That's Wu-Tang, baby. So what else can I say except groovy?
Groovy.
When there was a cool part that I caught this time, which I'm kind of ashamed at my younger self for not catching, when they're putting together the Army of the Dead and they're dragging the topless wenches up there. I'm like, how did I miss that before? So it gets a Liz 10. It gets a Liz 10.
That's right. Oh my god, that's
excellent.
A Liz 10.
Funny.
Liz 10. Josh,
Yeah, I was waiting for somebody to say that because it's Embeth Davidtz, right?
Embeth Davidtz. Yeah.
Embeth Davidtz, she's in it too. There's a scene where if you slow it down, when Evil Ash gets her up on the hill and he goes to give her a kiss. Like when she's struggling, her top comes down. And you get to see her boobies too. So now there's another reason to go back and rewatch it. No, I love this movie. It's funny because I actually didn't see this movie until I started dating Josh. It was after I dated Josh that I saw this movie. I saw Evil Dead 1 and 2 because it's the same type of movie that my dad and I would stay up late at night and watch. And so I knew about it. I just didn't know they did another one. And so when I went over to Josh's house, he had the movie poster up on his bedroom wall. And I was like, hey, that looks like what's his face from Evil Dead. He's like, you know Evil Dead? Have you seen Army of Darkness? And then next thing you know, it was like every date night was Army of Darkness. It's still like that. So I this is like right up my alley for this. I love this movie. I'm sure a lot of it does have to do with some nostalgia because it was early on in our dating life and things like that. But it's a good movie. Plus, I have some other attachments. The guy who plays is it Henry the Red?
Henry the Red, yeah.
Henry the Red. Like I know that guy. He works at the Iliad bookstore in Hollywood. Yeah, he's like the husband of one of the authors that I published. And you can just walk on in, and I saw him, and I was like, God, he looks familiar. And it took me forever to realize who he was.
He's a little older.
Yeah, but he still has. He just looks like an older version of him. And when I walked out the store, I said, Josh, I know that guy from somewhere. He goes, yeah, me too. We couldn't figure out what. Halfway home, we realized who he was. We're like, oh! And he like turned back around and went back in. No, this it's great. I love everything about it. We were talking about we got asked what our favorite part was, and it's that whole scene where he climbs out of the pit.
Or warned by a wise man. You must.
And he's like, all right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. And he just goes in. His whole like thing about shop smart, S smart, and all that. That's I think my favorite. That favorite scene right there. It just right there encapsulates everything that is Ash at that moment. So it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. It's too much fun and it's easily quotable. It's got a lot of influence on other like small like independent horror guys. It's really great. I love it.
I was grateful when Nate bought that bum wheel and that it kept bringing up Army of Darkness. I think it was a divine sign. Army of Darkness is in my like top 3 films of all time. I was excited that it made the list. This movie is also the movie that I've seen the most times in the movie theater, which is 17. When it hit the Dollar Theater, which was near my high school, I was able to go like every day for almost 2 weeks straight and watch that flick. So I didn't know anything about it before I went to go see the movie, but I had a friend in high school that swore up and down that I would enjoy the flick, and I wasn't really big into horror movies back then, but I went to go see this movie, and within the first 15 minutes of the film, I was laughing so hard that I had fallen out of my chair and onto that sticky ass floor in the movie theater. I had to keep pulling myself up because I'm like the really terrible laughing where you're crying and like snot's coming out. The scene when he's in the pit and the old wizard guy throws the chainsaw to him and it goes up with his stump and it like connects with it. I lost it. I'd never seen anything like that in a film, and I was done. And yeah, I've been hooked on it ever since. And I remember all the lines, all the scenes, everything about it. It's just, it's definitely a 10. There's just no question about it for me. So,
Josh, have you met Bruce Campbell?
Once, yes. When he did the movie Bubba Hotep, I had the opportunity to go to a sneak preview of the film that Bruce Campbell showed up for, and he gave like a long talk and took questions from the audience at the end of the film. So Bubba Hotep, which is also a great film if you haven't seen that. But Yeah, and that was some time ago, so he was significantly younger than he looks now. But yeah, that was the one thing about watching this film this time, is because we've been also watching Ash versus the Evil Dead. Yeah, he's looking a little rough around the edges these days.
He's gonna be at LA Comic Con.
Yeah, he's been there a few times. Just never. I never saw a reason to meet him. But now I do, and I'm just dang.
He's in every Sam Raimi film that Sam has ever done, which is why when we talked a couple months ago about he kind of leaked that he was going to show up in the new Doctor Strange movie as Ash. I think that a lot of people said that was like an April Fool's joke, but I think that lines up perfectly with the way that Raimi does things. So we might get one more Ash for the ages, part of the MCU.
I met Sam Raimi.
What's that?
I met Sam Raimi and told him thank you for the Army of Darkness.
Oh, look at you.
Man. Beautiful, really.
And so I think that's 10s all the way across. This might be one of our highest rated ones.
It's an epic movie, man. It really
It
is.
deserved it, right?
Yeah.
Or like a bunch of high school, like college goofball friends getting together to put movies together. They do it very well because the other guy that's the executive producer, Rob Tapper, he's like their other guy, and he does everything with them too. So it's like Sam Raimi, Rob Tapper, and then Ted Raimi. 3 of them are like the go-to guys for all of this stuff, and see, you too. You see the caveman. You guys need to get together, be a bunch of goofs, and put a movie together, and it'll be great.
It's that easy, right?
Yeah. We're gonna need a lot of volunteers, a lot of donations.
Kickstarter, Patreon, fans, it's all going down.
And just to stick,
smash that
and
like button and hit subscribe.
Yeah.
and to stay in character as the honest, corrupt politician, I will be stealing all of those funds.
Seems fair.
Awesome. Well,
It's gonna be a
thank you,
movie about
everyone.
making the movie.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you go out and watch Army of Darkness if you haven't already. All the Evil Dead movies are fantastic. For Jason, for Late to the Party, I am Jason, and we are on the Collection Connection. Until next time.
Groovy.
Of darkness.